Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on this channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of these things sound like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. This video is a collab hosted by my friend Valerie at The Harget Life, and we are all getting together to share some Thanksgiving dessert recipes. Now, I eat exclusively gluten and dairy free, but my favorite fall treats tend to be, well, not. So whenever I can, I take matters into my own hands because I do not want to miss out on my favorite basic fall flavors. So today I'm sharing a recipe for caramel apple pie that's sure to be the hit of your Thanksgiving table. But here's the kicker. It's a completely paleo recipe. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, paleo is a way of eating that tends to focus on whole natural foods. And it so happens that paleo recipes are naturally gluten and dairy free. Now, for this pie, I made my own filling and I made my own caramel. But as a little bit of a shortcut, I did use my favorite store-bought allergy-friendly pie crust. If you decide you'd like to take it all the way paleo and go the extra mile, I'm gonna include a link in the description box to a paleo pie crust recipe so that you can make that yourself. Speaking of the description box, while you're down there, check out not only the link to Valerie's channel, but also the link to the playlist, because I mentioned this is a collab. And what that means is that once you've seen my recipe, you can go into that playlist link and see what all of my friends made for their Thanksgiving desserts as well. So with all that being said, let me show you how I made this gluten-free, dairy-free caramel apple pie. Alright friends, to begin, of course, our ingredients. We need 5 cups of apples, peeled and thinly sliced, a cup of room temperature water, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup or honey, I'm going to use honey today, 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour, I'm using regular gluten-free flour in its place, a tablespoon of gelatin, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and you're also going to need the recipe for paleo caramel sauce. We're going to make that a little bit later. Then as far as our hardware, I'm going to use this medium large saucepan and my favorite kitchen gadget, you guys already know, my apple core peeler slicer thing. I'll have it linked down below in the description box in case you'd like one for yourself. I just think this is so much fun to use that I'm actually going out of my way to find recipes or excuses to use it at this point. So as you can see, to start, I am using my gadget here to core, slice, and peel 6 apples total. That's what I needed in order to make up the 5 cups of Honeycrisp apples. And this is my favorite allergy-friendly pie crust. I got it at Whole Foods. Like I said, if you'd like to make your own so that it's completely paleo, I will link a recipe in the description box below. So you're going to start by adding your room temperature water to the saucepan, and you're going to sprinkle the tablespoon of gelatin over the top. Wait a minute in order for it to bloom, and once that's happened, you can add in your apples, honey, flour, and cinnamon into the saucepan. You want to make sure that everything is evenly mixed, and over medium heat, you're going to bring everything up to a slow simmer. Lower the heat as needed to make sure that it's not fully boiling, and you want to cook everything down, stirring occasionally for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how tender you want your apple pieces to be. Now you can take your apples off the heat, stir in your vanilla, and allow it to cool while we bake our pie crust and prepare our caramel sauce. For the caramel, you need a cup of coconut cream, that's the solid part of canned coconut milk, 3/4 of a cup of coconut sugar, and 2 pinches of sea salt. You want to place the cream and the sugar in a small saucepan, turn the heat to medium, and bring it to a simmer, stirring to make sure that the sugar is dissolved. Once it's simmering, turn the heat down to low and maintain that simmer for 8 minutes, stirring occasionally. Once that's done, you can turn the heat off and stir in your sea salt. The caramel is going to continue to thicken as it cools. You could keep it warm if you want it runnier, or you could even refrigerate it if you wanted to make caramel candies, but that's not what we're doing here today, folks. Once our pie crust is baked according to package directions, you want to put it into the freezer for 10 minutes so that it cools down. And once that's happened, you can pour the room temperature, slightly warm apple filling into your prepared crust that's now been partially frozen, and kind of arrange the apples so that they're somewhat flattened, none of them are sticking up, just make it look pretty. Lastly, we're gonna pour our easy caramel sauce over the surface of the pie. Feel free to reserve whatever is left over. I actually ended up using some in my coffee the next morning and it was so good. Chill the pie in the fridge for a minimum of 3 hours or overnight. And when it's ready to serve, you can serve it with whipped coconut cream or even paleo or dairy-free ice cream. We served it just as is, and it was delicious. However, the color of the caramel, I could see how it's, not the prettiest thing. So covering it up with coconut whipped cream might be just the thing if you don't want to scare off any non-paleo or non-gluten-free, dairy-free eaters. All right, friends, there's my caramel apple pie, and I have to tell you, this was amazing. This was really, really tasty, super easy to make, all things considered, but it still looks really impressive. And we've actually made this recipe again. We made it a second time already, but this time we did it with peaches instead of apples. Oh my gosh. This definitely passed the standard American diet eaters test, which is my own little rubric for knowing if a recipe that's paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free is good enough to kind of seduce the members of my family that just eat regular foods. Oh yeah, this was a big hit. Definitely 10 out of 10. I think my dad might have eaten like half the pie all on his own, actually. This was a really, really yummy recipe. I'm really happy to be able to share it with you all. And now that you've seen what I made, make sure you check out that playlist in the description box so you can see what all my friends made as well. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!